We're excited about our intro video.
We'd love to hear anyone's thoughts about it. It's definitely overdue, and I'm really excited that it's there. Oh my gosh, this is.
And we updated a camera. We tried to update our sound quality, so we've made a couple improvements. Hopefully, it's noticeable.
Yes.
Hopefully, the sound quality is better.
I don't hear the fan today.
I don't hear the fan, so that's a huge plus.
And Sasha's on her way to getting this.
I'm on my way, yes.
Camera as well. Yes.
Yes.
But the funny thing though is the freaking headphones. Like, who thought we would have issues with headphones?
I know, that's been like the biggest problem. Apple.
I know. It's like you need the old headphone. Sorry, I don't even know where I'm looking now.
I know, I feel so bad for you.
I'm like,
Kat's camera's clearly above her, but her screen that has Sasha on it is below the camera, so.
I'm so used to like looking at the webcam.
I know.
And then I noticed myself on the other screen. I'm like, oh, you look like a dodo. But yeah, the old headphones have, the skinny aux thing, right?
Yeah.
But
and these are just stupid things.
It's that one era where it had the skinny aux thing, yeah, and not the new flat one, but with a mic. Because a lot of the old ones don't have the mic.
I didn't think about that. You're right.
So I'm like, that's why I was like, wait, I have a new one. And Chris is like, I have an old one. But I'm like, this is the only one.
Yeah, I know. I have one of those somewhere. And I'm like, I need to find it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I might invest, because since this is the only one, and this is actually really old, like, it's kind of staticky in this ear.
Yeah. You sound great, though.
Yay.
Yeah.
And then now it's getting the audio from here, like of you talking,
right,
rather than whatever's coming out in this environment.
Right.
Anyway, improvements, team. That's all we can ask for. And we got some new banner photos going, and we hope you like them. And just a quick note, we're really amping up our Facebook group, so we'll put the link here in the description and wherever else we can. But if you'd like to join the community, request to join, and we've been putting all our article links, and it's an easy way to get notified of like the next time we do a live stream.
Yeah, as an event.
An event.
And it's open to anyone that is involved in anything related to entrepreneurial things, whether it's an idea, a project, a side hustle, or you're a professional but you are your business, or you own a business. It's kind of just anyone nowadays.
Even if you are making cookies and you want to sell them at the farmer's market on Saturdays, but like a recurring thing, you may not view that as a business, but everything's a business. If you're making money or if you're selling yourself.
Well, I don't know about that. But.
Well, I mean, like as an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like as a prostitute. I guess, I mean, if you're trying to make that a business, but. So today's episode is about owning your business, not the legalities of it, but the confidence and how you should pitch yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have an article for this. I don't, because I wanted to start with what made me think of this as a topic for this discussion. Because it was like this preliminary thing, this like questionnaire that I did for a fellow entrepreneur, and they're doing a class or workshop, seminar type of thing, where they're allowing entrepreneurs to connect to their business in a more personal way. So the questions were geared towards merging your views on like your personal life and your professional life and seeing if they're consistent and together and match. And I think that's important as an entrepreneur. And I feel like when I first started a business, I never saw myself as a business owner, and I think that hurt me. And I think it's important to embody your business and your skill set and your profession, no matter what that is, whether you're a freelancer or a business owner, or you just bake cookies and sell them on the side. It's important to own that role and that identity whenever you talk to people, whether you're introducing yourself for the first time or if it's just a family member that you know really well. Because I feel like when you do that, you now create a connection in their mind of like you and that other thing. So now when they think of you, they just think of you as that. And I think it's part of like a good part of success in your business.
Yeah, I think it's like a big part of sales, which we don't like to think about unless, like, I feel like when we associate sales, it's like, oh, a salesperson for that company. But you're always selling yourself and your company, like.
Right.
And I guess I feel like we've both done this in the past where we've been, I think especially at the farmers markets, where you had to articulate what this product is and then what you're doing, like within like a couple of sentences, because then you lose them. You know, you can't be like this long-winded life story.
Yeah. I feel like they're always emphasizing your elevator pitch. Like whenever you look into anything for business, like that's like starting off, it's always like, okay, come up with your elevator pitch. Like if you were in an elevator and you had only X amount of minutes, what would you say to like fully convey to them like what your business is and what you do? But I feel like with that also comes the whole like identity thing, because I feel like for me, I also struggled in like what I called myself. Like was I the founder? Was I the president? Was I the owner? Was I the creator?
Dude, that changes for me literally on every form.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I'm all of them and none of them. I don't know.
Yeah, because then you're like, you don't want to sound like obnoxious. Like, I'm the president, you know, as if there were so many employees.
Right. Each title indicates something different. So you're like, I don't know. You feel like if you founded it, then it's like some like shop that you opened maybe like 3 years ago, like it was founded in this year. And then I feel like if you're the creator, you just sound like an artist, like you create things, but you are the creator. And then owner is like, I don't know, it's kind of like sterile, like ugh.
I know. I'm always in between owner and founder, but I always feel like when I say owner, like I feel like owner sounds less pretentious than founder. But then when I say owner, I have to say something after, because then it just sounds, like, so.
Yeah.
And as if I own, like, a sub shop.
Right, exactly. I think, the scale of your business comes into play when you think of the name. But we also talked about the term entrepreneur and how, like, we feel like that
has a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I hate saying entrepreneur. I never say that. I hate that word. Sorry.
I feel like entrepreneur is, like, when you've owned like 2 or 3 businesses, like you are that because you've like done it. You know what I mean?
Right. Like someone who flips houses, I feel like an entrepreneur is someone who flips businesses.
Right.
I'm writing I want to do a poll on our Facebook group this week of what do you think of the word entrepreneur?
Yeah.
And then I also think if we can post a little bit about some elevator pitch tips or a template, that would be awesome. But yes, if anyone is watching and they have any questions or they want to see something in the Facebook group that would help them, and even if you're watching this after the live stream, please feel free to comment any questions related to your side hustle or main hustle, and we'll try to answer them either in the next episode or in our Facebook group. So. But yeah, so elevator pitches, so then we associate it with sales, right? So then no one wants to do it, but that's really just the most important part, because like if you say I'm an entrepreneur, someone could just be like, oh, whatever, they have no job.
Yeah, I guess like an entrepreneur could just be someone selling stuff on the side.
Yeah.
Or like,
it's unclear.
Yeah.
And like then they leave the conversation with, oh, Kat does something on the side, or oh yeah, she has some little, she's a crafter, you know, which was cute before, but like, I'd rather them leave with like, oh yeah, she has a party shop.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Is like I used to always think of the elevator pitch, but at the same time, I think it's better to just think of like one sentence that summarizes everything, which is
Right.
hard. But I think that's better because, like for Botana Bites, there were so many components to it that I was like, where do I start? What do I lead
Right.
with? Who am I speaking to? Because that might change what I'm leading with. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Right.
gluten free or has celiac, I'm going to lead with that. But if it's someone into herbal medicine, I might lead with the herbs instead. So I think that was also tricky when you have a business that's kind of like multiple different niches that it can apply to, because then you're like, wait, what do I
Mm-hmm.
lead with? What do I like show off here? But yeah, I think ultimately what I used to say in events, I mean, I guess it was more obvious because I was already selling my product, so they knew that I owned a business and that I was doing it. So I think I would just lead with information on the product itself. And then in like
Right.
random conversation with like strangers or like just people that I was just telling about Botana Bites, I would just say that I started a business. Like I felt like I was very shy about claiming my role as like an owner or founder or whatever you want to call it. So I would like kind of shy away from saying big statements, I guess.
I just realized something.
What?
I'm such a dodo. That if I switch to you, sorry team, trial and error forever. If I switch to you,
What are you switching the screen view?
I also have to take out the overlays because then it says at Sasha Jade Wellness, and
Oh,
so then when I
yeah,
go back, I do this. Oh my
this is our first time using OBS and all these things to feed our
god.
Zoom talk into YouTube Live, so bear with us.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how fun. Okay. Gosh, wow. That's like playing piano over here. So I'm like all the like my fingers are everywhere. Um, so yes, I agree with what you're saying, like all of it, and I feel like I still struggle with what you're saying in terms of like who you're talking to, because it's like I feel like we could have our generic statement of like I own a business or whatever. Um, yeah, whatever it is, right? So then, but then when you go further into it, like let's say sentence number 2 and 3, I feel like that's dependent on who you're talking to.
Yeah,
And then it's also like if you're talking to another business owner, maybe you can get away with I started a business, but you didn't want to say that to like someone who could be an investor, you
right.
know?
That's
Like
true. Yeah.
so I feel like even having multiple versions,
Mhm.
but I still think you should have a strong first statement. Like that should just be so that it comes naturally to
Yeah.
you. Um, yeah, so I'm going to a networking event on the 11th. Oh, yeah, the 11th. Um, and it's my first networking event in Nashville. And I'm
That's
going
awesome.
for the Kits and Pieces. I usually go as part of a hotel or whatever
Right.
catering company I'm part of. And I'm already thinking. I was in the shower. I usually have all
She
these
always has shower thoughts.
shower thoughts. Um, so, because I was like, I had been doing all this rebranding, but I pushed getting new business cards because I'm like, I don't see anyone, you
Yeah.
know? And I've gotten new business cards twice already, but now that I rebranded, I'm like, oh, I want new ones, and I fine tuned what I do too, because before it was just like I did backdrops, wedding services, like it was just like too many
Yeah.
things, which I would like for them to just see the card and be like, oh, she does party kits.
Yeah.
But I was like, what if I think of this new way to network, right? And ride off of the COVID thing, and do a QR code that I
Yeah.
hold. This is only because I can't get business cards in time. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera.
I think all business cards should have QR codes on them.
Whoa, wait! But I keep the QR code, and I'm just holding it because it's socially distanced. I hold it, and they scan it on their phone, and it takes them to basically they can save the picture on their phone.
Oh, okay. Like just take a screenshot.
Yeah, they can just take a screenshot, and like my face shows up with like Cat Leia, da 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 da, and then they can even click on the website or click on my phone number,
Yeah, totally.
and they could just save it.
Yeah.
And then just pretend that it was like a socially distanced thing. But really, now they'll easily be able to add my phone number into their contacts because it's
Yeah.
linked, or they can just screenshot it. And I mean, because don't you inevitably like just take a picture of the business card anyway? Like,
I know. Well, I was thinking too, like when you get a business card, you then have to type the website onto your phone. But if you just have a QR code on the business card, you would just scan it, go directly there, and you're done.
yeah.
And I feel like that's what it's going to be or should be now. Like,
I'm like, who wants a business card? So then, but I'm
yeah.
like, am I gonna look stupid walking around? Oh yeah, here, here's my QR code, because I'm not giving it to them.
I think
Or
at
should
first
I?
it'll be kind of weird, but I think it's going to be a good idea, and I think other people are going to want to do it.
Because I know I'd be the only
So
person
own it.
there.
Just own
Yes.
it.
So right. So I'm like, should I just own it and be like, I'm the only person doing this, and other people like, what if little
No,
Mary
because
here?
nowadays that's what they do at the restaurants because
Right.
they're like getting rid of germs and like not trying to spread things. So you could, I mean, it makes total sense. I think other people are going to wish they thought of that.
And then it
Unless they
already
already
takes
have,
them to my
but, like,
website, and it's like, isn't that the main point?
Yeah.
Because I think it's also like for a lot of people, it's so hard. You see so many items. You see, like, we're just like oversaturated, right?
Yeah.
And all of this. And you wouldn't, if they can just see even a picture of me and a picture of what I make, like
Yeah.
what, and then my contact info, then it's like they remember that rather than like
Yeah.
verbally saying. Anyway, but I'm excited. So yeah, so first networking event of the year. So I need to have my
Elevator pitch, and you're owning yourself as a business owner. Well, okay, so I guess an extension of this was kind of just the concept of like what you do versus what you are. So any kind of like art or creative thing, or if you're a freelancer or if you're a business owner, like what you do is run the business, or what you might do is photography or graphic design or whatever. But when you actually just say like, I am a graphic designer, or I am a photographer, or I am a business owner, it just makes it this like declarative statement that is more set in stone and more permanent. And I feel like whenever you just say like, I do photography, or I do this or that, it almost sounds like temporary, or there's like this connection to time involved that makes it seem like, oh, that's what they do now, but they might not later, or like that's what they're active in now, but maybe not. So I think it's important to just say the title, like whatever that is, whether you bake muffins, like you're a baker, or if you, I don't know, anything.
right, like yeah, instead of just it makes you seem like you just do it on the side. Yeah.
Right. Versus like you are that. So now like when people think of you, they're just going to think of you as that identity, and that's it. Like,
Which even if you're doing a side hustle, I think it's still important to pitch it that way, because
yeah.
if they know you, let's say they meet you at your job, which is at a bank, and they already know you as the bank person, right? Mm-hmm. You want them to remember you as the other thing too, because you are inevitably interested in that as well.
Yeah.
So
right.
Hopefully 50-50, if not more interested in the side thing. Because that's the whole reason you even wanted to start that in the first place.
Yeah.
Even if you love your job, it doesn't have anything to do with your actual career. But if you're going to take the time, which I think even a side hustle, even if I want to crochet, it's going to take probably at least, if you want to sell something, probably 10 hours a week. And that's a lot of time.
Yeah, right.
That's like more than dating. Like, not a relationship, but like, if you went on dates, that's more time than dating. I also have a new coworker right now, which is kind of funny. I need to show this because she's been sitting there. It's kind of funny.
I'm just like, I'm here. I'm ready.
Like, what's happening here? So either way, you should have a strong case for it. And yeah, I even feel like in the past, I was like, prop girl. And I was like, what is prop girl? Like, oh, you need props? Oh, Kat makes props. And it's like...
But then you were like a crafter, and I feel like that was also part of it. Or
right.
like...
But I think if I would have
more obvious.
pitched it as party decor, or even photo booth, like, whatever, tools and blah blah blah. Obviously, I never
Yeah.
created a strong sentence for that because that wasn't what I was trying to do
Right.
forever. But now, whatever, we'll get to this later. But prop bouquets, throwing it out there.
Oh, that's right. I want to see it. Do you have it with you?
I have them in the back. Oh wait,
Oh,
there.
oh,
um, but yeah, so I feel like now, especially doing the live um, video stuff, like even if no one is watching on my live, I still have, it's like live, you know, it's like a
yeah.
performance. And I'm like, I need
Right.
to basically say what I do in the beginning of every one of them because I'm not freaking famous.
Yeah.
And
That would
I've
be
got,
conveyed and understood.
and then like you were saying, it's like, like who, what you do versus what you are. Um, it's so, like we always say too, as a business owner, we're so involved in it that we want to explain every aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we want to be like, you know, this is the long term, for example, the muffins. These are the long term benefits. It has all these ingredients. Oh, it's perfect for you if you have celiac. Oh, and I want to maybe open this one day, or I'm trying to get into this market.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so much for a person to process. I
Right.
has no idea.
Well, and I guess that's why this is important for entrepreneurs or people that have entrepreneurial spirits because you're involved in everything that you do pertaining to the business. So you can oftentimes like say too much or like say unnecessary information to like the wrong person or whatever. So at least if you have that like baseline, like little elevator pitch or like initial thing that you tell people, it can help you to like regroup and just be like, okay, right now I'm just in this role. Like,
Yes.
what do I need to say or do to be in this role? And that way you're not like getting lost or like losing the person you're talking to by misdirecting them.
Right.
So
And then I think recently I've been trying to think of it as like since I started doing the lives, I was thinking of it as if you watched a movie and you wanted to tell somebody about it. Like you can't just be like, and then there was this one scene where her shirt was red and then all of a sudden the dragon came out and you're just like, the person's like, what are you talking? What storyline is that? And like I feel like at the end of the day, they should be able to be your biggest ambassador, meaning like if someone else asks them about it, they can say it in one sentence.
yeah,
So how are they going to say it in one sentence if you gave them 40?
right. I think that's also though like related to when you're like a creative business owner versus just someone that started a business because it was like a good idea or they had money to invest in it or something. Because I feel like those are the types that we think of that are a little more pretentious in how they position themselves and how they present themselves. But there's also this like note of mystery in the way that they just say like one sentence, like, oh, I'm the owner of blah blah blah, like as if you're supposed to know what the
Are you
business
in the
is
know?
already. Yeah, like as if you're just not cool because like you don't know what they're talking about. But there's something about that that also says confidence and kind of just like get with the program, like this is it. And I feel like as a creative, we're always kind of like, oh, like they don't even get it, or like I should over explain, or I should explain myself so that they do get it. And I think it's because we're kind of like on the other spectrum where we're like a little more humble, or we went into it for the passion reasons, or like we're afraid of looking pretentious, so we downplay ourselves. But I think there's like a happy medium you have to find whenever you're talking to people, just so it's like it still has that same confident, like declarative way to the person. And also does kind of make them feel like, oh, I should have heard about that. Like
Yes.
I'm doing it for Kits and Pieces. Like they should be like, oh shit, like, and maybe they'll think to themselves like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Like,
And then you're like, there's no way you heard of it, buddy.
I feel like just saying it like that makes them feel like they have to. Like
I'm
even
curious.
if they haven't, they now have to search it.
I'm curious if we just go up to someone and be like, oh yeah, I work for the Kits and Pieces, and be like, have you heard of it? You should download the app.
But honestly, that might actually be effective because then they would search it right from there because they'd be like, how
I'd
have
be
I
like,
never
there's no app.
right? What is it? FOMO, fear of missing out. They'd be like, my FOMO's triggered.
I was thinking, I used to be like, yeah, like scared of sounding pretentious or whatever. But I honestly think, one, it takes a lot to sound pretentious, and you have to really kind of be like
an asshole.
Yeah, about it. Yeah. Like it's just like, what? But I'd rather them leave the conversation being like, oh, this party shop chick was like so crazy, like obsessed with her shop. Then they leave and they're like, oh, this girl like just does something on the side. Yeah, because that person, even though he thinks that, or she thinks that, or they think that, will continue their lives and maybe be like, oh, I know this like crazy girl that's like into party shops or like party kits or something. I'd rather that, honestly.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense then to directly state the connection between like us as the entrepreneurs and the business, because that way at least it's not vague, it's more like direct, and then they're just always going to think of the business, which ultimately we want like more sales and more customers and more networking. So if they think of the business as soon as they think of us or vice versa, I think that's more effective than just like, I own a small business, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right. And I don't know, even for me, it's like when I see these events, for me, this networking event, I feel like is mainly event planners, which even in the event industry, it's like, you know, there's the suppliers and then there's the planners and then there's like the people having parties. So your customers or whatever, right? So like as the planner would not necessarily be buying from me.
Right.
But I almost am like thinking of what type of elevator pitch should I do to talk to these people so that in the long run they think of me when they talk to their customers.
Right.
So it's not going to be so much of like this hard sale, right? Of like, buy my stuff. And I almost have to probably end up either giving them free stuff or just future partnering with them. And I feel like that's its own set of sentences.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something I try to think of. So I guess like I will have my potential customer pitch and then my in the industry pitch. But
connection's getting bad. I don't know if it's mine or yours.
Oh, sorry, team. You're back though.
Okay.
You glitched for a second, but I was talking, so it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited to just see. I'll now let you guys know what pitch I end up going with.
Yeah.
But I also think like, so I guess to tie it back to owning your business is, the importance is also that, you know, they're going to find you not confident, or just disregard you in general.
Yeah. Right.
But, I just want to say that is not a smart trial and error, just to tie it back to our last, episode. That, maybe I'll just, you know, the trial and error should be trying different elevator pitches, not should I even do an elevator pitch. So if you want to level up, you need to have one. It's like you apply for a job without a resume. And it's like you could get a job, but
I also feel like that's why it is important to like make a business plan when you first start a business, even if you're not showing it to anyone, but it's just for your records or just to like establish your baseline for your business. Because I feel like for me, I would always get lost along the way by focusing on other components of the business and different areas, and then I'd always come back to my business plan and be like, oh, that's my main goal, or like that's my elevator pitch, like those are my key things I want to focus on. And I think through that, it helped me kind of like embody my role a little bit more when I did events or when I did introduce myself to people. And I think it's important to do a business plan for sure. And I think it's important to look at what you do and turn that into what you are, like just changing the phrase into saying like what you are versus just what you do. And I think it's important to just maybe say less with more. Like just say a sentence or two, but have that sentence be very powerful and straightforward and kind of just direct in terms of like what you want their brain to make the connection with you and that business with, like the direct links, I guess.
Yeah, and I was trying to find my printed business plan. And I was like, do I have it in here? Maybe. But I think, can you tell about this? Remember this 90-day course thing that you had access to? I remember back in the day, in the beginning, and then you were talking to Orion, like weekly, basically, and you were like, oh, I got access to this 90-day course.
Yeah, it was like
Or you had access to it for 90 days, but it was like not a 90-day course.
I forget the name of it. I feel like they're so common too. But they're like kind of like an accelerator program or something where it just gives you a lot of information and resources to help you with starting a business or evolving your business. But it was basically these like PowerPoint slides from that accelerator program that was shared with me, which I was lucky to have. But yeah, I mean, they're all geared towards different things. I mean, regarding like business plans, there's so many templates out there now that you could find for free that you would just download and fill in yourself. And then like along the way, I've like applied to different programs and different like accelerator programs that needed a business plan. So it's good just to have it for that reason too. And then you can change it along the way. Like it might tweak, as you go. But I think it's good just to have, because even like I would forget about it and then I'd open it and look at it and I'd be like, oh, wow, I haven't revisited that part of the business in a while. Or like, I forgot that was my main goal. Maybe I should return to working in that direction. So it helps a lot to just like steer your focus as an entrepreneur.
I just dropped everything. I'm sorry.
I can sometimes still hear you.
Hi. I think it's also helpful to revisit it more often as you first start your business, because I feel like, at least for us, we want to change so many things all the time. And I think it's a good reference to be like, well, this was our original goal. Should we change it? And maybe you should or whatever. But also sometimes, we spiral. Yeah. And we're like, oh, we should just go this direction. And that's going to be the new business. But like on the same note there, transitioning a little bit. So we'll put up a little business plan segment kind of thing. Because when I did my plan, I did it a while ago, and I'm like, I definitely am still in the same trajectory. And in fact, like I went from not doing any kits to doing the kits now, which was the original goal. And I think the next goal is still doing subscriptions, which was still part of the original goal.
I'm so excited for that.
I am very excited. I just wanted to make sure, that I know what I'm doing. But on the same note is this, I was talking about it to my marketing friend. And this prop bouquet thing, I just came out with it, and I know, like, we have been talking, like, that I should do more props because they just sell really well, and I've been doing it for a while, so that's why partially why they sell well. I'm good at them because I've been doing it for so long, and internally, they're easy to crank out, and the kits take so much more investment, both money and time, that props, I could just do variety, test them out, and then maybe the strongest ones become a kit. But I couldn't bring myself to like really invest in it in terms of maybe the aesthetics of it. Like the props are pretty, but I think I'm really gonna, for a lot of them, like let's say if it's worthy of being like a gift, just adding the bouquet option, because I just think they freaking look
Yes, can you show
adorable.
us the bouquet?
Yes. So I'm still photographing them, but This is one that's kind
And
of
for
like,
anyone that doesn't know, photo props are really good for just any fun photo shoot that you're doing anywhere, whether it's
yeah.
home or elsewhere. So they're just on, it's like paper craft that's custom but attached to a stick so you can use it in your photos. And then Kat put them together. Oh, for Valentine's Day. So it's like the little candy hearts.
Where am I turning?
It's so cute.
Right. So usually they're just for photo booths. And originally I wanted to do paper flower bouquets, but honestly, team, the investment of time is not worth it. Each flower takes way too long. Even if
Yeah.
you're a pro flower maker, I swear half the crafters on Etsy just do it for the joy of doing it. Because, and yes, I enjoy crafting, but if I'm going to try to sell it, I'm not sitting there for 3 hours for you to give me $30. Like,
Right.
and like maybe like, 15% of that is cost of materials.
Yeah.
So I guess like to me that just didn't make sense. And if I'm going to give you something for $30, it's going to be worth my time, but still look cute for you. But anyway, so props, yes, like you said, like photo booth, but I also think I was like, if I can make it like a cute gift,
Yeah.
because flowers die. But also maybe you're looking for something different. Maybe it's your 10th anniversary. You've been giving flowers every freaking year, and this is just a twist on that. This is a Galentine's version,
Yeah.
but you could just
It's so cute.
you could put them in a little vase too, or you could just leave them like this. I feel like it's so cute. And then, wait, let me just grab this really quick. So this is the last thing I'm going to show, but then I'm going to explain why I was talking about this to begin with. But I need to photograph this, but I haven't. But it's
Oh,
it's all backwards.
that's so cute.
I only taped these just so I can photo. You know what? This is like
Yeah.
dyslexic right now. But sorry. You know what? You know what it says. We get it. I'm not even gonna try right there.
That's so cute.
So I thought that was a cute little idea for anyone who even if you plan a grand proposal, but maybe you want something like to keep. But I was also thinking of throwing like an extra heart that's not in the bouquet that says she said yes or I said yes that they could take
Right.
after he gives it to
Yeah.
them or she gives whatever. I don't know. I just thought like this had like a whole vibe to it, and
Yeah.
I almost want to just focus on this as the pieces, like extra pieces, like beyond the kit. And I feel like I'm finally convinced that it's something. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was gonna ask you about that, like related to the topic of owning your business and like our roles. Like, what do you feel more comfortable as, like a crafter or business owner, or emphasizing like the pieces aspect or the kits, or like
I definitely want to still be very in line with the kits and pieces, but if other than owner, founder, or whatever, event planner, because I still feel like
right. That's so true. Yeah.
it's still the vibe of your event, and I'm thinking of your event from beginning to end and just making it easier for you. The reason I wanted to bring up prop bouquets was because right now the sub headline is party kits and blank. It could just still be mainly, I would still think of it as like 70-30, like 70% party kits, but I'm thinking now of doing 30% prop bouquets because I can get behind that. And then I feel like, even on Etsy or on my website, it would seem seamless if it was
Yeah.
just all these bouquets. And I feel
Right.
like no one has branded props as that.
No, I think it's a great idea because of that. Yeah, it's a different thing within that category.
I think it's catchy, and I think it photographs really well.
Yeah.
So I feel like wedding planners or just wedding couples could get behind it, whether it's for their photo booth or to keep or whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I like your role as event planner more than any of the other ones we talked about because I think it's still specific, but I think it shows too, like you offer kits and pieces because you're an event planner.
mhm.
Like not because you make kits and pieces, it's because you're an event planner. Like
Right.
so you know what is needed for an event, you know what the party needs, you know what it would need to look nice, and you know how to like deliver that design wise because you are an event planner. Like you're not just a crafter, like you're an event
Right.
planner. So
Which
yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think in the event pitch or the elevator pitch, the sentence I always have trouble inserting at the correct point in time is the whole point of the kits and pieces is to celebrate, to get people to celebrate more. But
Right.
sometimes, I mean, people don't care about that and they're just like, oh, cool, party box, you know?
Yeah.
But then some people are like, well, what's the point of creating these unique, like people that are complex are always like, well, what's the point of like the unique themes, or like, why do you sell this and not this? And yeah, because I think that's where I'm seeing it. Like I'm seeing it as the event planner and making it easy for you because you're busy so that you can still celebrate. And
Yeah.
in the future, I hope to have a kit for everything, you know?
Right.
But, you know, you gotta start somewhere. So, but I think that's where it's like, I see a lot of crafters that come out with literally miscellaneous things like every single day. And it's like, yeah, maybe I should be putting out 40 reels a month, but I'm not sitting there just crafting. I'm not a crafter, you know? I feel like I used to be a
Right, right.
crafter.
But I think that gives you more credibility. Like if you're an event planner that then started a business geared towards events and event planning, then to me that's like more, I don't know, respectable or like official because you have knowledge and experience and like a whole background in that.
Yeah.
So that's yeah.
Yeah, so then it made me feel better, like going back to the networking event that's coming up because we're going to be doing the elevator pitch. One of the things I was thinking, I was like, you know, the good thing about the event planners is I'm not trying to steal their client. It's not like I'm putting on a wedding in a box here. But that bride and groom, whatever, are going to have bachelorette parties, bridal showers, anniversaries. And it's like, should I be, you know, maybe they'll go to their wedding planner and be like, do you have any recommendations for this? Or we're on a tight budget. Maybe they could just be like, well, listen, this girl I know, she does a party in a box. Just got her bachelorette, whatever. And here, because I referred you, you get 10% off.
So then maybe if you're trying to network for that, you would lead with, I'm the owner of the Kits and Pieces. You better know what that means. And then, but then say like you started the business because of your experience and background as an event planner. So then you like made the business to serve that. Mm-hmm. Because the people you're talking to run events or might plan events. Yeah. So then in their mind, they're going to be like, oh, this girl has the Kits and Pieces party boxes, but she also understands like events. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, because I think like, I'm not going to, if you were going to spend $10,000 on your brunch, I mean, you're not going to just sub that out for me.
Right, right.
For my $100 box. So, or even if it's an afterthought, like, yeah, she understands events, I trust her with this, and that's why I'm recommending her, even if it's a party in a box.
Yeah.
So, and it's so funny because I just joined this group, and there's like a few thousand people in the group that are just in Nashville, but I've noticed most of them are event planners, and whatever, there's some main vendors and main hotels that are in it, but no one does party boxes. So then I'm just like,
yeah,
I could insert myself.
Yeah, that's why I think it's smart to lead with that, like lead with the Kits and Pieces / party boxes, like whatever term or indicator you want their brain to connect with you. And then just include, like, because of my background in event planning in Miami, Florida, like I feel like that is like a big deal.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I say Miami, people here are still like, ooh, because it's definitely growing here, but
Well, just say SLS because it's in a rap song, so
It must be real.
that makes it official.
So crazy. I mean,
I've heard that like 2 or 3 times, and every time I'm like, I want to ask Kat if that's where she works. Like,
I know I
Kat-
screenshot it and sent it to my old coworker, and I was like, "Is this us?" That's so funny though because it's like it's such a party brand. It's a lifestyle brand, that SLS. So it's known for clubs and nightlife and then hotels.
yeah,
But I just think it's funny that it's in like a hip hop. It's a hip hop or rap. I hadn't even listened to the song. I just looked at the lyrics.
yeah. It was like I forget who's. I think it was Ty Dolla Sign and
Oh,
someone else.
okay, it's definitely
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there's always like bloggers and like hip, HIPP, hip people, two P's, like staying at those hotels, and it's like always on their stories, like look at
Right.
me, I'm at SLS with my champagne on my balcony.
Yeah.
um, but luckily I was at SLS Brickell, and that
Right.
was more of a
Oh
calm,
yeah.
calm setting.
Yeah. I
I
can see
could
that.
not make it on the beach. That thing
Yeah.
is crazy. But anyway, so we would love to see anyone's elevator pitches and
Yeah, or questions or rough drafts or anything.
yes. And I know a lot of people might still be new to either elevator pitches or even starting their business and they're like, oh, that's not relevant to me. It's all relevant. Even if you just started, you know, um, whatever, selling hats. You should be able to at least talk about it in one sentence. Like, even if you're not here going out networking to sell hats, because you never know. You never know when people will come back. And I guess, like, ultimately, right, our goal is to have sales, like you said, but recurring sales or recurring customers are probably some of your biggest, like, income
Yeah.
because whether or not it's because they keep coming back or they're the ones spreading the word because they kept coming back, and you never know if that's one of the first people you meet, and 10 years down the road, you were the only person that they knew that does this.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot, I think, where it's like you just never know what that one moment might be for your business. So you have to treat every moment with importance because that one conversation or that one little sentence you said like could make a difference now or 5 months from then. Like you just never know.
Yeah.
So it's like everything matters.
Yeah. And like even on a smaller scale, you probably don't think of it as accounts, because I feel like that's something we associate with like bigger companies. I'm looking at the wrong camera. Bigger companies, and it's still an account, even if it's not
Yeah.
like in your database and whatever. It's and someone you
Right.
probably know by now. Um, so you have to treat it like anyone is a potential account because we say account because it's like, or I say account because it's like, let's say one person, let's say Sasha even, she hears about the kits and pieces and then she decides she doesn't need anything right now. But let's say in 3 months, she is having a company event and she needs 80 sets of these bouquets. Like, yeah, she's not ordering every day, but 80 sets is a lot of bouquets.
Yeah.
And then she tells her friend, who doesn't need anything at the moment, but her friend's also a business owner, loves the idea, in 3 months, orders 100 sets of different bouquets. But like technically those are like accounts at this point, even if it's just two people that you know, like friend of a friend.
Right.
So always important to have
Yeah.
your pitch. I'm really excited about next week, as we get close to Valentine's Day. And some of you may love Valentine's Day. Some of you may not care for it. Some of you may even do Galentine's Day. My hair's a little crazy right now. um, but we're going to be talking about passion behind your business. So today we talked about owning it, meaning like the confidence, but the passion behind it should be able to push you into this confidence. And if you ain't got no passion, then I don't know why you're doing this.
Yeah. You could have passion for making money, I guess. That could be your reason.
But then you'd be an entrepreneur, I think.
Yes, yes.
Because to stick with it for, let's say, 20 years,
yeah,
that's a long time. That's a lot. I feel like you're almost an entrepreneur.
I definitely don't stick to things. So yes.
Not that you don't stick to them, but you see the value in it and you exhaust it and then you let it go.
Right.
And then, I mean, I'm not acupuncture aside because I do think you will stick with that.
Yeah.
But because even with her original shop, Root Essence, bet you didn't know that.
No, I thought about that recently because I never related to this topic too. I never saw myself as a business owner when I had that shop. But now I know people that have Etsy shops like that and they view themselves as a business owner. And I would have never made that connection with myself. Like, I just made shit online and sold it. Like, that's how I viewed it back then. But I mean, I had business cards. I had an Instagram for it. I did promotional things. I partnered up with other people and offered discounts.
Yeah, you were on top of it.
I never, for some reason, it never registered in my brain that was my first entrepreneurial pursuit ever. And I had it since 2015. And even when I wasn't putting energy into it, I would still get 1 or 2 sales here and there. And I was like, oh, okay. But I think it's interesting because I also think it was the timing. Back then, being an entrepreneur wasn't as much of a thing as it is now. Or, a couple years ago, it's when it really started booming, where everyone was an entrepreneur, wanted to quit their 9 to 5 and start their own business.
Wait, it cut out a second. Hello.
And I mostly just coming.
Just start from wanting to own their own business.
Oh,
something
yeah,
Etsy.
It was a thing back then, and now I feel looking back, I should have owned it more because I probably would have been more successful in it. But I also just liked it for the design aspect. I liked creating the ideas of the jewelry and buying the stones and all the things. But I didn't really like just sitting there stringing beads for
the production, man.
The production sucked, and then yeah, so that was my first business, which I didn't even realize. I definitely didn't fully own it, but I feel it was pretty successful for the small community that I had. And then I kind of just let go of it just because mostly the production. And that's part of why I also let go of Botana Bites. So that's actually an interesting theme for me.
Well, that's where I think you're very entrepreneurial because, and I feel you still have to grow in that aspect because you were viewing yourself as a business owner and you were so invested, but maybe your strength is entrepreneurship where from the beginning you need to partner with someone with the intention of growing it and selling it.
Yeah.
I think because you're not into mass production.
Yeah.
And I mean, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Right, efficiency. And I mean, technically, if something's going to grow, you're not sitting there freaking stringing beads
yeah.
forever and ever. Even though this girl, I remember she used to be oh, I got 3 orders. Yeah, I was just watching Netflix stringing it last night. I'm as if it was a side note, that she just got an extra $100 that night for
I know.
just watching Netflix. What?
I know.
But I want to tie that in what you were saying really quick about the boom in entrepreneurship to what we're talking about today, because I think before you could get away with, oh, she has an Etsy shop, then she sells necklaces or whatever, jewelry. And people were intrigued by that because no one had an Etsy shop. But now, because everyone is doing it, like we were saying, there's just so much. So what makes you memorable? And you're not going to sit there and freaking show the whole portfolio to everybody. So it needs to be really something that sticks, and you have to have one because then you're not even doing it. So, and even if you're just doing it as a side hustle, having this is the difference between you making $50 to $100 this week in side income and versus nothing. And you could have made an extra $400 or $500 this month just from having the correct presence. So, but yeah, that is so funny. Root Essence. What a throwback.
I know. It's when you brought that up, I know.
Well, because I saw you posted in the 8 things about me And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, Root Essence. And I remember you used to have like, you were like doing the logo and you had a journal that had like, you either drew the logo
Oh, I
or
did.
you like,
Yeah.
she had like her notebook of Root Essence. And I was like, and I
Yeah.
remember you were
I
trying to
found like a
improve.
special font for it and
Yeah.
everything, and I made that into a logo. Yeah, it was pretty legit. Like
She took her
truthfully,
own product photography.
yep, all of it on Etsy.
And then the other thing you improved, I remember you improved the materials because in the beginning somebody said it would break or something, and she
Yeah.
like did the research and she like made everything better.
Yeah, the string sucked. I had to get new string.
That was a great.
I know. I made body chains. Like I took custom measurements and I made a chart so that people knew like what measurements to give me so that I could make it custom to fit their body, and it had like crystals on it and like
I wish
I,
you would have just put it on vacation mode instead of like deactivating it because I would love to
well, I
like screen
thought I
share.
know. I think I'm gonna bring it back because I still have a lot of inventory from it.
Did you
So I'd
find
rather just
it?
to sell it. Yeah. I found it. It's at my grandma's house, so I need to just get it and then just put the shop back
Can
on.
we just do a little note on Sasha's impulsivity?
I know. Well, no, but so recently I had an order from Root Essence and I didn't see the notification or anything because I'm not connected to it anymore. So I don't have the Etsy app. I don't have like anything going on. So literally like a month went by and I happened to see it somehow, but the person was pissed. They were like, I ordered from this shop. I never heard back from them. I never got my product, like super pissed. And I was like, I'm so sorry. So I finally saw the message and I wrote back to them and I was like, definitely refunding you. My bad. Like, kind of phasing out of this. And then I just got worried that it would happen again. So I just shut the shop down because I didn't have the supplies because I had moved.
Because she
Whatever.
couldn't find them. Like,
Yeah. So then, like the next day, I talked to my grandma and I was like, "Hey, is this at your house?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I have them." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, my bad." So
which you could just put your shop for the team here
on vacation.
on
Mode, yeah.
vacation mode, so then it basically doesn't allow people to buy anything, but you're not killing the shop here. And
Yeah.
then I love how she was just like, oh, you know what, whatever, I'm gonna just close this.
I felt so guilty. I think it was my way of parenting myself, where it's like, you messed up, so now you close your shop.
So Asian. Sorry if that's we're allowed to say that we're both Asian.
Yeah. In case you didn't know.
Well, anyway, team, I think we're kind of approaching our time limit today. I'm also starting my new UX course. So don't ask me questions about it now because I haven't started, but I'm very, very excited.
I'm excited. That's awesome.
I say that I'm excited, but then I'm like, I feel like 30 hours a week in, I'll be like,
No, that's a lot of time. That's like a lot.
that is a lot of time. But if I do that, I'll finish in 5 months.
Yeah.
And I would like to finish in 5 months. So.
Yeah.
And you know, we have the time now, and so I'm like, let's just do it. But I've been reading about the course, and it just seems very in line with us. And I'm going to say Sasha also, because it's very practical but still creative, which I still want to put it out there. If Sasha is not a pro entrepreneur, she needs to go work for like Google or Amazon or Microsoft, but like high level. So,
Something techie.
huh?
Something techie.
Well, just something where it's more, I think Amazon, not so much Microsoft, Google. I feel like those are a little more rigid, but yeah. But I feel like if you worked for Amazon, but worked your way, I just feel like you could start as a manager now. Like you don't even have to start from the bottom, but work your way to an executive level where you have the freedom
Yeah.
to make those calls. And it's something, because I feel like you always need to be challenged. Like you need to be challenged. I feel like your
I
jobs
know.
have been too easy.
I think that's why I like my current position, because it's in a phase of a startup where it's like at that point where it's starting to transition into a lot of growth, assuming they deliver everything they need to deliver. But there's also a lot of room for improvement, which I like, because then it's like, okay, we can learn a lot, but we can also change things and improve stuff. So it's like more dynamic. I think I really like things to just be very dynamic.
But I think this I think is a good job for you now because you're doing, like, you're involved in, even if it's not, you're actually making the change.
Yeah.
But I think you are worth so much. Like, I think they're benefiting from you, but I think you, in the long run, would benefit from a type of position, and this is acupuncture aside, but a type of a position where you make a change and it affects millions of people rather than
Yeah.
like, well, we could do this and then we could not do this.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. I think with anything that's like software based or app based, like you have that potential because of how many people might be using it. And I think
yeah.
that's what's interesting about all of this too. Like now that we're getting into this a little more, like this industry a little more, is that it does affect so many people, but it is kind of like this background effect that you have where it's like, if I tweak this or do that, it's going to create this impact. Or if I just like change the wording on this one pop-up, it might change how often they interact with the next few screens. Or like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just so cool because it's like an experiment on people, but it's also understanding psychology, understanding humans,
Dude, that's
understanding
why you
trends.
should do UX. Like, that's literally what it
I
is.
want to. If it wasn't 30 hours, I'd be there
Well,
for sure.
it's I'm choosing 30 hours. It's minimum 15, which I feel like you should do after your boards or something. But
I really want to because Dakota's doing this computer science course and I listened in on it and dude, I was like about it. I was like, I loved it. It was so interesting, but it was about C programming. So it's like the code involved in creating a computer program, but it's so math related. So I loved it. And I don't know, it was just, I was soaking it in, but I was like, okay, can I apply this right now? I need to focus on board. Like I have too much going on. So I was like, I can't give my energy to this. But I did like a little quiz online that was like, okay, what industry within computer science kind of thing would you want to go into based on like the answers to these questions?
Yeah.
And it did say something with UX or like just design in that field because of like
So I'm just going to tell you this really quick just because of what you just said about the psychology and the design of it, which UX is specifically the psychology of people with design, but how you work the process from like A through E of the beginning to end, and then E is turning it over to like a programmer to make it come to life. But the beginning you like research. This is how they broke it up, like how the course is broken up. You do research and you basically are like the FBI and you build a profile of like who your main whatever is going to be, right? So it's like
that's
Sasha,
so cool.
Sasha 29, and like that's in your portfolio. Like when you deliver something, and I like this program because you leave with 3 projects to apply. Like
can you link the program in the description of this?
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting.
So, and I like that you leave with a portfolio because to me it's hard to learn this and then go find clients without anything to show for it and whatever. Okay, so you do research, you create a persona, and then like in your final project it's like Mary. It's like it describes Mary and like whatever. And then you keep scrolling and then you create this kind of like floor plan, almost like a digital floor, but like hand drawn. Like everyone shows their hand drawn, either their phone app or their website layout, and then they transfer it into one of the programs, which I'm sure your friend, your coworker, uses.
Figma.
Yeah. And then you transfer it into the program, and then you just basically, as you're scrolling, you see it come to life from little Mary here to like what it looks like, and then you at the end, it's like you're basically scrolling through an app or website or whatever it is, and that's like your deliverable. Like that's what you're showing a future. I just love that.
I want to do it.
Like I love that concept.
I literally went on a rant the other day to Dakota, and I like used visuals because I was just like, here's the problem. There's only 24 hours in a day. I was like, I need at least like 36, like at least. Because
you do. Not... I know, but honestly, you're doing so much, and I'm just saying, like, even if you ever decide to do a free version.
No, but that sounds amazing. Like,
I think it's really interesting.
I never noticed I would be into this, but even like the fact that I studied anthropology connects to this.
Yes, that's why I'm like, you would love
study of human behavior, and I'm just like. And just so many things. I remember when I was younger, dude, like I was always on my computer creating shit, but I had this like scrapbooking program. So I made scrapbooks, but virtually. Like I made them on a program so you could like move stuff around, you can input photos and do different text and different colored pages and all this stuff. And I just remember little stuff like that that I like really enjoyed doing. And I just never knew there was like a thing for that, or I guess like the back end of it all with computer science and UX and everything else. So now that I'm exposed to it, I'm like excited to like go down that route. But I'm also like just about to enter being an acupuncturist. So I'm like, damn it.
I know. I always think though, like in the future, you should take this program just to, because it's always easy. Like you could always do Upwork with it. And, you know, I hope that you have back to back to back patients, you know?
Yeah.
But in that type of practice, like not just acupuncture, but like that medical practice, if you have your own clinic, it's not usually back to back to back to back to back or back to back to back every single day, right?
Yeah.
And
it's just a different pace, but I think I would like to have two different jobs. I don't think I'd be happy.
Right. That's what I was saying. I was like, if you have acupuncture, there's no way you're going to be happy just doing that. You're going to be so bored.
I hate it.
So, wait, I want to send you a link to this portfolio and then we'll sign off. But this is like one of the ones I saw. I was like, what? Do I really graduate?
I want the link to the course. I still want to try to see. Can I just listen to it while sleeping?
I know, right? I'm just going to send you this that has like 9 examples. But I was just like, wow, that's what you graduate with? Like, it has like the mock-up. Like, it looks...
That's amazing.
So, how can I send this to you? Where's Zoom?
Yeah.
Where is... Oh, sorry, team. But where's the chat? How does one find the chat?
On the bottom, it should hover out.
Oh. Everyone's going to see this link. We'll post it in our...
Well, if I open it and I share my screen, will it show up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do that, team.
Let me do...
So this is the course?
No, this is just example portfolios of like what you leave with at the end of the course. And of course it's how much you like decide to do with it.
Curious about human behavior.
Okay, just click, I guess, like one of the links, or maybe it's like down there if you just keep scrolling.
Oh, I see.
But then I guess
a travel planner app for foodies. Oh, Feast Day.
But see, I mean, that's just a one picture thing. Actually try to click the project because I feel like it should show more than just one picture.
View Michael's.
There you go. Yeah.
Associate of Arts degree in graphic communications, graphic designer, UI design. Okay.
So then, like, this is his whole portfolio, including like the description and like look at all these color palettes, and you see he has this like app thing that he's designing, but then there's like a user flow right on top of the drawn. Wait, stop scrolling.
This right here.
Okay, so the left is like that's the fake person that we're basing the app, like the app is targeting.
I created a set of user personas based loosely on interviews I conducted during an early rapid prototyping session. These personas proved to be invaluable in determining the proper functionality of the app, as well as formulating a strong basis for the final user flow.
So that's kind of like the psychology. And then you create this user flow, which is the top part, and a wireframe is the bottom part there. And there's usually even an extra step from the drawn aspect to like a computer aspect before the final aspect. And then the style guide, it's like you choose the colors and like the icons that are used and like the whole vibe of the app based on Halista Rassam here.
Right.
I feel like that's so cool to graduate with that. Like, graduate, quote unquote.
So essentially they created the app for her, like for the user.
Based on who they thought, based on research, like that would be their main target audience.
Interesting.
But it's easier to create it for a person to imagine this girl.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So then look at that. There's like an actual like app. And like, because basically that's
Because
what,
that's what my boss was saying. He was like, whenever you go into these courses, he's like, I recommend to go in with a project in mind. That way, like,
yes.
you're applying everything and actually seeing what it'll come out to. And I mean, I think a lot of the courses are already going to be geared in a project way because of that. But
Well, that's the
I
thing
don't
with
know, dude. I really want to do. I
the
really
free
want to do.
course. I think the free course, like if you go on Coursera or something, you have to have the project in mind. But with this course, they kind of give you a few topics to do it on, and then you have to do it on one of those topics. But I think it's helpful because if you don't have time, at least you graduate with these things already done, you know? Whereas if you take a free course, you might get a little lazy. But like with
our UX course or UI course?
so I'm taking a UX course, but not the short course. I'm doing like the actual course. And then at the end of the UX, you can choose to pick a specialization, whether it's in coding or UI or some third weird Alexa voiceover thing. But so I'm going to choose UI, obviously. But if you do UI, it does a little bit of UX, but UX technically pays more and covers UI in a way. So
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
and the only thing the reason like the portfolio is so important is because it's still kind of like a newer field. It's not new, but now that they're giving a name for it, you know.
Yeah.
So you still almost have to pitch yourself to the person hiring you because they know they need a UX designer, but they don't know what for. So you
Right.
almost have to be like, this is why you need me. Let me show you my portfolio. So,
Right.
but anyway, we'll talk about more about that another time. Because that's about all I have on it.
I'm excited for you, and I'm very jealous.
Don't be jealous. I feel like you have half of the skills already. It's just putting it in.
Oh, this is the course.
This is the course, yeah, the 30 hours.
Yeah, 6 months. Well, it says 6 months at 30 hours per week.
Yeah, but then I like read something and it was like, oh, 5 months. Well, whatever.
Okay.
But even if it's 6 months, it's fine. And then,
No.
but I like that also you get assigned a mentor and they have to approve your projects. Like you can't just turn in crap projects. And to me, that's good. Like, yes, tell me if this is a horrible design.
Right, right.
So, but yeah. I love how Sasha's like, I definitely signed up for that too. It just gives you like more details and more links to like understand the program, but it doesn't tell you what to do.
Oh, no, that's for the short course. I mean, I could probably swing a short course.
Dude, it's just 6 emails. Like that's what it is.
Oh, that's the course?
Yeah. So like it kind of gives you just like a more in-depth look of what it is. And that's how I learned all those portfolios.
Lame.
But I know. But then you're like, you know what? I can do this. I'm into this. But all right, team. Thanks so much for
Guys.
joining. And ooh, you know, next time I might add our end screen, which is with just our faces. So very cool. Yeah, so definitely leave any comments. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated with our weekly chats. You can watch our old chats. And we'll put the link for our Facebook group if you guys want to join.
Yeah, and any notes from the whole video we'll put in the description as well.
Yeah, exciting.